Soft morning light filters through the wide windows of a home carefully chosen for life beyond fame. This is a space built for calm and control, where privacy is intentional, and every detail reflects a woman who has already conquered the spotlight. Behind that quiet routine stands a $230 million empire, shaped not by luck, but by decades of talent, discipline, and fiercely guarded independence. In today's video, we step inside Bette Midler's world at 80, where career, wealth, and the sanctuary she calls home come together to define a lifestyle earned, protected, and unmistakably her own. Every long journey begins somewhere modest, and for Bette Midler, it began without money, status, or any hint of the empire she would later build. She was born on December 1st, 1945, in Honolulu, Hawaii, far from the theaters, film sets, and recording studios that would later shape her life. She grew up in a modest Jewish household as the daughter of a dressmaker and a painter who worked on a naval base. The home was practical, opinionated, and never quiet. Money was present only as necessity, not ambition. What she learned early was how to project her voice, command attention, and survive among strong personalities. At Radford High School, she was voted most dramatic and most talkative, labels that felt less like jokes and more like early warnings of the woman she was becoming. She enrolled in drama studies at the University of Hawaii but left after 3 semesters. Structure bored her. Time felt precious. In 1966, she appeared briefly in the film Hawaii, a role with almost no lines and no meaningful pay, yet it confirmed something essential. Staying in place would cost her more than leaving ever could. New York City was not a dream she chased, but a decision she made. In New York, survival came first. She studied under Uta Hagen and worked wherever there was space for her voice. Off Broadway led to Broadway, where she spent years playing Cetel in Fiddler on the Roof. The work was steady but not lucrative. After Broadway, many performers faded quietly. Midler did not. She shifted direction again, singing at the Continental Baths, earning roughly $200 per week. That income did not bring comfort or security. It bought time. It paid rent. It kept her in the city long enough for something larger to arrive. That turning point came in 1972 with her debut album, The Divine Miss M. The record went platinum, selling more than 1 million copies, and transformed her from a cult performer into a national presence. For the first time, music gave her financial independence. By the mid-1970s, touring and royalties were lifting her annual earnings to around $1 million. Over the decades that followed, she released 14 studio albums, selling more than 30 million copies in total and generating an estimated $120 million from music sales, performances, and long-term royalties. Film expanded not just her audience, but her earning power. When she starred in The Rose in 1979, her salary was still under $500,000, modest by later standards, but the performance proved she could carry emotional weight on screen. By the late 1980s and throughout the 1990s, her film fees rose to between $5 million and $10 million per project. Films like Beaches and The First Wives Club delivered back-end profits and bonuses, pushing her total on-screen earnings across more than 50 roles to an estimated $90 million. She was not chasing volume. She was selecting durability. The pattern continued into Broadway. When she returned as Dolly Gallagher Levi in Hello, Dolly from 2017 to 2018, her reported weekly salary reached $150,000. With box office bonuses and contractual terms, that single Broadway run earned her more than $20 million. At a stage of life when many performers retreat, Midler was still generating controlled, concentrated income on her own terms. From 2020 onward, her work slowed by choice, not by force. She appeared selectively in The Glorias, Coastal Elites, and The Politician. In 2022, she returned as Winifred Sanderson in Hocus Pocus 2, a streaming success that reaffirmed her cultural imprint without demanding reinvention. Smaller roles and voice work followed, alongside continued involvement in environmental efforts through the New York Restoration Project, which marked its 30th anniversary in 2025. Books, publishing rights, and image licensing quietly reinforced her financial foundation. Titles such as A View from Abroad and The Saga of Baby Divine added an estimated $10 million through advances, sales, and international rights. Even in years without new releases, licensing from her music catalog, film library, and image rights continues to generate approximately $3 million to $5 million annually. She converted income into stability. In 1996, she and her husband purchased a 3-level penthouse on Fifth Avenue in New York, measuring roughly 7,000 square feet. In Hawaii, she acquired a 38-acre Kauai property in 1988 for $1,500,000, now worth many times that figure. These were not impulsive purchases. They were deliberate anchors. As of now, Bette Midler's wealth stands at approximately $250 million, shaped not by a single explosive contract, but by decades of restraint, timing, and control. Money never became the headline of her life. It became infrastructure, the quiet foundation that allows her to choose when to step forward and when to remain still. Now, she lives without tours or performance schedules, dividing her time between family and carefully selected projects, including the upcoming comedy Cut Off and early discussions surrounding Hocus Pocus 3. Watching her story unfold feels less like fame pursuing her, and more like Bette Midler quietly staying one step ahead of it, financially secure, creatively selective, and fully in control of her time. Her career and her fortune grew side by side, shaped not by excess, but by discipline, authorship, and the rare instinct to stop precisely when the moment was right. With her career stabilized and her wealth carefully secured, we step inside Midler's Manhattan penthouse, a private retreat shaped by control, discretion, and a quiet sense. A Manhattan penthouse above Fifth Avenue. Bette Midler and her husband, artist Martin von Hazelberg, purchased this Manhattan penthouse in 1996, at a moment when her career was already firmly established and no longer driven by urgency. Acquired for approximately $3,500,000, the residence became their home for more than 2 decades and was often described by Midler as a country house in the middle of the city. After the purchase, the couple spent 2 years transforming 2 separate apartments into a single, seamless triplex, reshaping it into a loft-like retreat designed for light, flow, and long-term living. Located on Fifth Avenue, the residence occupies the top 3 floors of a pre-war building, unfolding across nearly 7,000 square feet, where light, books, music, and greenery coexist in quiet balance. Stepping out of a private elevator, one enters a wide, sun-filled hallway that leads directly into a nearly 70-foot-long living space with high ceilings and an open, fluid rhythm. The living room centers around a wood-burning fireplace clad in ceramic tile and opens onto a terrace overlooking Central Park, where the city appears calm, green, and expansive rather than loud. Neutral-toned sofas, coffee tables layered with stacks of art books, and casually placed flowers create a space that feels comfortable and relaxed. In an Architectural Digest interview, an image taken in this room shows Bette Midler standing against textured walls and soft light, capturing the same sense of intimacy and confidence that defines the space itself. The renovated kitchen is bright and welcoming, fitted with custom wood cabinetry, marble countertops, and oversized stainless steel appliances, including a dramatic industrial-scale range hood. French doors open onto an outdoor garden and a small greenhouse seating area, extending the kitchen into a lived-in, everyday space. A curved staircase with brass railings connects all 3 levels, forming a graceful spine through the apartment. On the top floor sits a library and music room measuring approximately 21 by 18 feet, lined with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves and anchored by a piano near expansive windows. This is the quiet heart of the home, opening onto a rooftop garden of more than 3,100 square feet, with sweeping views of Central Park and the reservoir, a rare sense of openness in Manhattan. The penthouse contains 6 bedrooms, each with its own ensuite bathroom. 2 face Central Park, including the corner primary bedroom, which features a wood-burning fireplace, a private study, and large windows filled with light. The remaining bedrooms look out over the city and are decorated in soft, restrained tones, layered with artwork, textiles, and furniture that feel deeply personal. More than a symbol of success, the penthouse represents a long period of life shaped by intention rather than momentum. Every level reflects a preference for space that breathes, privacy that protects, and comfort that feels natural. It is a home defined by balance between city and quiet, scale and restraint, mirroring a stage of life where presence matters most. From the Manhattan penthouse above Fifth Avenue, Bette Midler retreats to her house in Kilauea, Kauai, a place defined not by height or city views but by land, silence, and absolute privacy. House in Kilauea, Kauai. Bette Midler and her husband, Martin von Hasselberg, purchased this home in the Kilauea area on the island of Kauai in March 1988, as a place to return to whenever they seek complete quiet, away from the pace of fame and professional life. Set deep into the green heart of Kauai's North Shore, this is the primary Hawaii retreat of Bette Midler, located in Kilauea, a quiet agricultural pocket where land still breathes and privacy is not negotiated. Spanning approximately 2,500 square feet and set on a full acre, the house carries the calm authority of a refined Victorian farmhouse adapted to island life. The arrival begins at the gate, where 8 mature monkey pod trees line the drive, their broad canopies forming a natural corridor that softens the transition from road to residence. The grounds open wide and level, bordered on one side by an 80-foot lilikoi hedge that offers privacy and seasonal fruit, and on another by open paddocks fenced and ready for animals. The house rises gently above the lawn, its exterior clad in weathered shingles, white columns, and stone details that anchor it to the land. A long wraparound lanai stretches nearly 90 feet, finished in Douglas fir flooring and edged with curved white railings. This outdoor corridor wraps 2 sides of the home, turning the porch into a true living space. Wicker seating clusters invite long conversations, morning coffee, and evenings shaped by breeze rather than schedule. A custom cedar pergola on the southern side, woven with Namnook vines, creates a shaded outdoor room where flowering plants shift the palette throughout the year. Inside, the transition is seamless. 10-foot ceilings immediately lift the air, encouraging flow and cross-ventilation. The living room is calm and balanced, anchored by a wood-burning fireplace that brings warmth on Kauai's rare rainy evenings. White walls, pale wood floors, and carefully placed furniture reinforce a sense of restraint and balance. Built-in shelves frame the fireplace, holding books and personal objects that speak quietly of a life spent creating rather than collecting. The kitchen opens naturally. Granite and copper countertops catch the light without reflecting it harshly. A large farmhouse-style copper sink sits beneath a window looking out to the garden, while professional-grade appliances, including a gas range and a sub-zero refrigerator, support everyday cooking. The island becomes a gathering point, equally suited to casual meals or preparing food for friends after long afternoons outdoors. Bedrooms throughout the main level are generous and understated, each oriented toward greenery. Materials remain consistent: soft textiles, natural fibers, and neutral tones that allow the landscape to remain the dominant presence. Bathrooms continue the same philosophy, with stone surfaces, thoughtful lighting, and layouts that prioritize comfort. Upstairs, an unexpected 800-square-foot sunlit room unfolds beneath the roofline. Oak floors warm the space, and the ceiling angles create an intimate sense of retreat. With its own half-bathroom, This room functions fluidly as a studio, writing space, or quiet refuge, a place removed just enough from the rest of the house to allow focus and solitude. Located just 1 mile from Rock Quarry Beach and minutes from Kilauea town, the property balances seclusion with access. This is a place built for longevity, for control, and for quiet continuity. In Kilauea, Bette Midler's house remains grounded and composed, offering a version of luxury defined by space, privacy, and the freedom to live at one's own pace. And now, we turn to Midler's car collection, a reflection of the same restraint, practicality, and personal control that define the rest of her life. Car collection. Bette Midler's current car collection includes the Acura TL, the Land Rover Range Rover, and the Rolls-Royce Silver Spur, with each vehicle reflecting a different rhythm of her life, from everyday routines and work to formal public events. At New York Fashion Week on September 1st, 2007, Bette Midler arrived at the event in her Acura TL. It is a mid-size luxury sedan with a low, confident stance, smooth automatic transmission, and a cabin designed for calm daily movement rather than attention. Inside, the interior feels quietly refined, with soft leather seats, a clean dashboard layout, muted lighting, and controls placed for ease, creating a space that encourages relaxed conversation and unhurried thought. Today, the car's value is around $5,000 to $7,000, and it stayed closely tied to her work and public appearances. In 2016, she was spotted picking up coffee in Los Angeles, California, dressed simply and moving through the city in her Land Rover Range Rover. It is a full-size luxury sport utility vehicle with a high driving position and 4-wheel drive, built to handle rough terrain, yet refined enough for everyday urban life. The vehicle's weight creates a feeling of control and protection, with a ride that stays calm, steady, and well-insulated from the outside world. Similar models today are valued between $25,000 and $40,000, and it continues to represent modern comfort paired with quiet authority. At the premiere of Beaches at the Academy Theater in Los Angeles, California, Bette Midler arrived alongside her husband, Martin von Hazelberg, in a Rolls-Royce Silver Spur. This long-wheelbase luxury sedan, finished in deep black and crafted with hand-built details, was reserved for film premieres, formal galas, and award nights where arrival itself mattered. The Silver Spur was not chosen for speed or convenience, but for ceremony and presence, the kind that turns a stop at the curb into a moment. Today, well-preserved examples are valued between $20,000 and $35,000. Yet its true value lives in those evenings when she stepped into the spotlight, fully aware of her stature and place in Hollywood. These cars show that Bette Midler values practicality and meaning, allowing her to move easily through everyday life and work. Yet her story does not end with arrival. It continues in the causes she supports, where her time, influence, and resources create lasting change. Philanthropy. To date, Bette Midler has contributed at least more than $21 million to charitable causes, with the majority coming directly from her personal assets, rather than through fundraising campaigns or honorary roles. With the New York Restoration Project, Bette Midler is not only the founder, but also the largest personal donor. Over many years, she directly contributed more than $20 million from her own assets to restore over 1,000 acres of parks, community gardens, and playgrounds in underserved neighborhoods across New York City. In 2019, she personally spent $350,000 on tree planting and climate resilience projects, choosing to invest quietly and for the long term rather than attaching her name to a fundraising campaign. Beyond environmental causes, she also directly donated $1 million to the Barbara Davis Center for Diabetes, moved by the quiet strength of children living with diabetes for life. Bette Midler's giving is defined not by visibility, but by the steady decision to act, pay, and remain present long. That same instinct for privacy and restraint carries into her personal life, where Bette Midler chooses calm, intimacy, and long-term partnership, shaping how she lives. Personal life. Bette Midler lives her life now at a calm, steady pace, far from noise and close to what truly matters. Home is the center of everything. She and her husband, Martin von Hasselberg, have been married for more than 41 years, and their partnership today feels settled, unforced, and deeply familiar. They protect each other's space. They sleep in separate bedrooms. It is practical, honest, and it works. Their marriage is built on humor, patience, and long trust, not on appearances. Family time remains simple and private. Their daughter, Sophie von Hasselberg, is grown, married, and quietly building her own career. Bette speaks of her with pride. It shows in small moments instead. Cooking together, planning holidays, long conversations that stretch late into the evening. When Sophie married during the global lockdown caused by coronavirus disease 2019, the family kept the celebration intimate and personal. Bette arranged the flowers. Martin helped prepare the food. That detail says everything about how they live now. Most days begin early. Bette reads the news, answers letters, and checks in on her charity work. She spends hours on phone calls and messages related to the New York restoration project, staying personally involved rather than acting as a distant name. Gardening remains a daily ritual. Dirt under her nails grounds her. It slows her thoughts. She has said it keeps her honest. On Instagram, Bette Midler also speaks very little. She almost never needs words. Sometimes it is just a photo with her husband, standing close together, no caption, no explanation. Yet in their eyes and in the space between them, more than 41 years of shared life is quietly visible. It is a kind of love that does not need proof, only presence. She also shares images of herself in character, fully made up for the stage. Bold makeup, carefully styled hair, a sharp, playful look in her eyes. At this stage of her life, transformation is no longer about impressing anyone. It is about playing with art, about curiosity, about the simple joy of standing in front of a mirror and becoming someone else for a moment. Occasionally, she shares short music performance videos from the stage. Just the lights, the microphone, and her voice. She sings with control and restraint, focusing on phrasing and emotion rather than technique. The performance feels direct, calm, and honest. Today, Bette Midler's personal life is defined by balance and choice. She lives quietly, loves deeply, and creates only when it feels true to her. After decades in the spotlight, she no longer chases attention. She shapes her days on her own terms, finding meaning in family, routine, and the steady presence of music in her life. If you want to explore more stories behind legendary lives like Bette Midler's, follow the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below. Tell us which artist or icon you would like to see next, and what part of their life you are most curious about.